Today on the Topping Show, the Boy Scouts are roasted in their first social media post since announcing that they will change the name as well as allow girls to join. The White House, quote unquote, forgives more student loans. California may tax you 3 cents for every mile that you drive. A bill to prevent illegals from voting passes, but the bill was 262 to 143. Dupont may break into 3 separate publicly traded companies after 220 years. Bark Air debuts so you can fly your dog for about $6,000. And Microsoft has an outage that impacts Bing, Copilot, ChatGPT, as well as DuckDuckGo. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Dupont proposing to be broken up into 3 publicly traded companies after 220 years, which is quite a legacy to say the least. Basically, if you ever gone to a construction site or pretty much ever done business or worked at a company in manufacturing at all, you've probably seen their logo somewhere on the job site. Now, this was first brought to us thanks to CNN Business, and specifically, it looks like the exact writer is Samantha Delau. They note that, quote, a 220-year-old American corporate powerhouse is breaking up. So, I don't want to say typical CNN, but that's what's being proposed. The board of directors still needs to actually approve it. Granted, the board of directors, once these things are announced, more often than not, they're going to vote in favor of it. But, just a little asterisk or a little technicality for the moment. Now, they note that the company plans to spin off its electronics and water businesses into their yet-to-be-named companies in a transition that is tax-free to shareholders. DuPont said it expects to complete the breakup transactions within the next 18 to 24 months, and it is subject to final approval by DuPont's board of directors. The announcement will also include a shakeup in leadership. Effective June 1st, DuPont's chief financial officer, Lori Koch, will step into the CEO role. DuPont's current CEO, Ed Breen, will stay on as executive chairman. Koch will remain the new CEO, slim down DuPont once the spin-off companies are complete, according to the company. Now, this also isn't too surprising because we've seen kind of famously General Electric as well as Kellogg's break up in past 2023, which GE used to be a powerhouse, probably not really intended because they also made a lot of electrical equipment, but they literally made everything from the stove in your kitchen to nuclear warheads and miniguns. They had a pretty cool, diverse portfolio, but a lot of people would argue they lost focus, certain divisions started losing money, and they separated to 3 or 4 core businesses to kind of remain that focus and spun everything off. It's a little sad these days because if you see GE, like appliance, kitchen appliance, it's just a licensing agreement. They don't actually manufacture it. It's mostly all the same company these days for a lot of those things to be manufactured. So it'll be interesting to see what the future is for the Dow Jones. I mean, I was about a little bit of faux pas there. I was about to say the Dow Jones, but yeah, it's DuPont. But let me know in the comments, have you ever even heard of the company name? Again, they're mostly known for their commercial business, and most folks on a day-to-day basis wouldn't know it. But let me know in the comments, as always. It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Bark Air debut, so you could pay to have your dog fly with you for about $6,000. Now, this is actually a separate business. I mean, most people who want to, quote unquote, cheat the system will fly on your major airlines, and they'll just have that little piece of paper that says, oh yeah, this is my emotional support dog, which I think some of those airlines are starting to catch on to the fact that I think you only need like $35 to actually get that little quote-unquote authorized certificate to have your dog be your emotional support dog. Well, this comes to us thanks to USA Today with Emily Kolbins. Note that, quote, when pups fly, Bark Air, the world's first airline for dogs, takes first flight. Bark Air says that it has taken the white glove experience of typical of humans' first class experience and redirected all that into pampering their pooches. That experience comes at a cost. Yeah, it's pretty painful to say the least. It starts at about $6,000. See here. And they note that the first charter jet company in the world with every passenger is a VIP, very important pup is now off the ground. Which I don't know if they trademarked that yet or if that's an official package. But that is kind of cute, brilliant marketing to have that yeah, very important pup. That's kind of clever. I appreciate that. They note that Bark Air, launched by a dog toy company, Bark, in partnership with a jet charter service, is a luxury airline for man's best friend that transports dogs of all sizes along with their owners in comfort and style, quote unquote. CEO Matt Meeker said in a video provided by Reuters. They note that they're here to revolutionize things. Yeah, I could really get through this. We're here to revolutionize flying for dogs. That's the main banner on their website. They note that tickets sold out. Which, again, who has this money to piss away? You're spending a car to transport a dog. I know the emotional rhetoric, everyone loves a man's best friend, it's a part of the family. I understand that. Now, in terms of ROI, I don't want to brag, but my pet rock is infinitely more effective since, and more obedient too. I told my pet rock to stay in the living room yesterday. Well, living room / kitchen / gym, but nevertheless, she hasn't moved an inch since. And great listener too, by the way. Always has time to sit and hear what I have to say. But I partially digress. Now, it looks like they have a couple of pictures here where they have, I mean, the upside is there's actually room to breathe on this airplane when you're mostly tossed into a sardine can. And it looks like all the dogs are quite content and happy. Good marketing, a picture of a dog looking outside the window as if the dog is contemplating the world and all the problems out there. But it's not, because it's a dog. Now, there's a golden retriever looking out there. Now, of course, they say prices ain't cheap. Now, they say that pet owners can expect to pay $8,000. Again, $8,000 for a one-way international ticket and $6,000 for a one-way domestic flight that covers both them and their dog. Well, at least you get to join. They note that for now, the routes will serve New York City metro area via Westchester County Airport, with flights to Los Angeles via Van Nuys, and London, England via Biggin Hill. And they say what to expect. They'll even have a spa treatment on the plane as well, apparently. They'll have special dog food. Oh, wow. This is hilarious. They say, Meeker says, this is the CEO, Meeker says that the airline cares to everything to the dog, quote, trying to lower their anxiety and stress so they have the most comfortable, fear-free experience on the airplane, unquote. That'd be a smart aleck, but couldn't you just throw them a tennis ball and they'll be happy? And again, this is a brilliant business idea. Because there are, what's a nice way of saying morons? There are people with lots of money that are willing to pay for this. When again, maybe I'm just too frugal for this concept. You can just buy a car for that amount. You also don't. This better be a situation where you do not have to wait 1 to 3 to 5 hours to go through the TSA. And it looks like it's a charter flight, so like a private plane. They even have emergency potty pads for the dogs. They're bragging about that in this article. And then it looks like each flight can fit 15 dogs and their humans. That's hilarious. Again, this is the dog focused. They say the dogs, then the humans. But it never sells more than 10 tickets per flight. Baseball flying is important to how animals roam. Is it though? Like when I was a kid, we drove around the country, family vacations in a good old Dodge minivan. I think it's a 2001 Grand Caravan, which I would argue is actually the best thing for the environment because everyone that they manufactured was, again, at the end of the day, returned to Mother Gala because it would just rust into the basic materials and disintegrate. Partially digress, but our dog just sat in the same position. There's like maybe a minute where it was a little crepuscular, which is a fun Scrabble word, and just kind of, walked around the middle of the van. Eventually, the dog just sat there. And it was perfectly content. Do they expect the dog to be running laps up and down the aisle? Is that a selling point for this service? They also note that humans must be at least 18 years old. Now here's what they should have started with. No kids are allowed on Bark Air. I guess that being said, I don't think you'll ever have a quiet flight these days because if you go on a regular flight, you'll have kids or terrible people. And in this case, you'll have dogs, which I'm pretty sure they bark. Which, I mean, A+ marketing, it's Bark Air. You can't complain that you're going to bark. You know exactly what you're getting. Now, granted, this is a very niche product, niche service. I wonder how, I don't know if it's I venture, because again, private jets are exceedingly expensive. So depending on your time, what your time is worth, it'd be a good investment. But can't but wonder, is this a loss leader to drive toy sales? Because again, it started off as a toy company, and this is good marketing because it got all of our attention. A flight just for dogs, $6,000 to $8,000 one way. I mean, from that perspective, I mean, that's actually a pretty good idea. It's getting our attention, but the real question is, how many? This is going to be a low volume sale for sure. Have you ever heard of this concept? Well, they say they're the first one, but would you be willing to pay $6,000 to $8,000 one way to travel with your dog on an airplane? I mean, granted, I would. My pet Rock's pretty content just being thrown in a bag if I were to feel so inclined to travel with her. But let me in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have the Boy Scouts young people post roasted on social media. Their very first social media post since announcing that they are changing their name, as well as allowing girls to join. After settling, I think it was for $2.2 billion for all the inappropriate adult on-child content activity. Trying to keep the show moderately family friendly, so you don't have to worry about turning it off if you have kids in the room or anything like that. But yeah, they have how do I describe this? The same issues that public schools and some religious organizations have. That's something that the Boy Scouts have in common with them. Now, this was on their X social media account, and interestingly enough, pull that up right here. I'm actually surprised they have not censored anyone yet. So if you feel so inclined, granted by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, they might have changed, but right now they are not censoring folks like they did previously when they had their posts saying we're going to change our name and allow girls in. That was roasted, and they after a couple hours they had to lock it down, so only accounts that they mentioned were allowed to comment. Spoiler alert, yeah, it was like 99.99% ratio negative responses to the original post. Now, this post, and again, they haven't changed their hashtag yet, so their hashtag is still hashtag or @ Boy Scouts. And they say, quote, each year, young people working to earn the rank of Eagle Scout complete thousands of projects in communities around the nation. These before and after photos show the results of some of those incredible projects. Now, again, I'm not a grammar scholar by any means, but yeah, but see, there's a certain word missing. They say each year young people. You mean each year boys? Well, that used to be. Now they cater towards everyone, which we'll see how much they're already losing funding. A lot of sponsors are dropping them. I can't. Excuse me. I mean, their membership has also been declining. Doesn't help that they have rudimentary popcorn sales, which, again, Boy Scouts is terrible at marketing. I don't know if they have the same marketing. Maybe Alyssa Huddershaw, the former VP of marketing at Bud Light, went over there. But, I mean, even when I was a kid, there's bad marketing. Girl Scouts, they're smart. They know how to sell cookies. People love them. Nobody likes Boy Scout popcorn. No one. You'd buy it because you felt bad for the kids. Let me know if you've ever bought Boy Scout popcorn voluntarily without just feeling like you want to try and help someone out. It doesn't happen. Or if you did, you're that one person. And if you are, let me know in the comments. That you'd be a fascinating anomaly. Now, scrolling down to actual pictures, they show before and after. And it takes you to their website, Aaron on Scouting. Stream makeovers, round 56. At least they embedded the URL properly. But yeah, it looks like so you have basically a desolate field. Then they add a nice wooden fence and you got a bunch of trees planted. Which, again, I mean, the picture is pretty good. Well, actually not. They're smart. Well, we know they're not. I don't know who's in charge of the marketing. Why don't you have a picture? Well, maybe they did want to have a picture of the boys. Yeah. Nowhere in that picture do I see people working hard or really representing your brand or the company, or in this case, a nonprofit. Not very compelling. I mean, even the direction Boy Scouts is going, why don't they have, boys, girls, everything in all the same picture to prove the point or to kind of drive forward their messaging going forward? Now, if you go to their page to donate, I don't know why you would, but they actually have a bunch of girls hiking at the Boy Scouts, or should be called the Scouting America, which they'll probably be canceled for that because, I mean, why not just scouting everywhere? Why do they still have an eagle in their logo? Eagles are mean. You can't have that. But nevertheless, they got a couple comments. They got 4,000 views, which, not to brag, but I do have one video that got more than that, and I don't have a millionth of the resource allocation they have. So it used to be a prestigious brand, only got 4,539 views. But 58 people did like it. 17 comments. Spoiler alert, most of them are pejorative, but let's dive in and see. Maybe I'm wrong with this assessment. Maybe everyone thinks this is a great before and after photo. They'll give accolades, and oh yeah, you're giving young men the opportunity to strengthen their minds and their bodies. Oh wait, no, you don't do that anymore. But let's dive in. Like old Dickinson says, before anyone criticizes, remember a young man or woman volunteer for free for this project that includes leadership skills, planning, budget, and securing other volunteers to this project. A contrarian statement right off the bat? That's awesome. Okay. Life is getting a little bit more interesting. 6 people did like that. And, I mean, it's also hard to say no. I mean, free labor is pretty profitable. It's pretty nice if you're a landowner and they just do this for free. Now, interesting enough, do they specify? They didn't. And of course, Boy Scouts can't afford, what is it? Yeah, that's a big red flag. You know who follows the Boy Scouts? Gavin Newsom. Yeah. He's not very he's not very moral or intelligent. He is articulate though, and women like him because he looks pretty. Now, Boy Scouts America apparently can't afford the $8 a month for Twitter Blue. It'd be terrible. It'd be just awful if someone to make a parody account of them. Just awful. Totally not giving people ideas. Would never suggest that. Now, again, if it would have been smarter again if this is public land, or like if this is a local park or something, and then they could actually explain like where this took place, how long it took. But I was about to say, what's the ROI of the project? Is infinite because it didn't cost them anything for whoever received it. But that's an interesting point. Charles says Boy Scouts destroyed themselves. Very sad. Classic memories before they were self-destructed. I got 6 likes as well. 50-50 shot of positive and negative. Will the ratio stay? Probably not. YT says, I'm old enough to remember when Boy Scouts was for boys, getting 6 likes as well. Greg Marchant says, how do you feel to lose your soul, getting 3 likes? Bus driver says, please reconsider giving in to the name change, getting 1 like, which they won't. I mean, I suspect they will get more donations from different people and different organizations now that they're changing their name, their policies, and what they stand for. But no, they've been destroyed partially by themselves for having monsters work there who committed the most evil acts of all by harming children. Again, that settlement, I mean, the settlement included, was it 86,000 allegations? Let me pull that up really quick, actually, now that I think about it. I'm going to double check that. Boy Scouts settlement. What was the actual number? The Boy Scouts Trust, so there's a trust settled for it, so if you're affected, you can call this trust. $2.7 billion fund was established under the Boy Scouts under Chapter 11 bankruptcy, allowing victims of sexual abuse to claim between $3,500 and $2.7 million. That was according to the Alabama Reflector. Here, 2.2. Trying to see the exact allegation abuse count. Going to Reuters.com. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it says the settlement involves more than 82,000 men who said they've been abused as children by troop leaders while in Boy Scouts. Wow. They also changed their policy years ago on who they allow in Boy Scouts, which many speculate is why there might have been an increase in abuse. Yeah, 82,000 allegations. And again, I'm not saying every single one of them was 100% factual. There are certainly some people who maybe they're trying to abuse the system or they're doing a false allegation. That does happen. But the sheer volume of 82,000, I just say, I consider myself very blessed I was not affected negatively in my participation in the Boy Scouts. Ethan chimes in saying, woke Scouts. No likes, but he did get that comment in. Boomer says, I won't let my children join a cowardly organization. There will be a faith-based organization growing stronger due to your weakness. 1 like, and true. Granted, the Facebook is always listening, but as soon as I started reporting on this topic, I started seeing the suggested pages on the Facebook saying, oh yeah, look at this faith-based organization Boy Scout knockoff or something to that effect. Granted, I don't have any kids, so it's not really that much pertinent to me now. But yeah, I think other organizations are going to exponentially grow because of this policy change to the Boy Scouts of America. I wonder if the true test will be: do they hold on to the intellectual property? Do they allow the copyright, or do they allow the trademark Boy Scouts to expire, someone else to buy it out? That'll be interesting. Forgiveness to all says sad organization. Spearmint says groomer getting 1 like. Let's see. Tampa Dynasty says you're anti-American and anti-man trash getting 2 likes. Let's see. Finally, I was going to say we had to dig to the bottom of the bowl, but we got another positive comment. This is from Prince Igatoni. I was gonna say, Prince Igatuni, who's from Nigeria with no followers. Not to brag, but I have like 3. Granted, most of them are robot girls that are following me. Elon gotta fix the bot issues, but see, is it really a real person? I don't think it's a real profile. So they've only ever done 1 post and 2 replies. And it says, I'm making the world a better place I meet in. Famous work in non-government nonprofit, joined in May 2024. Yeah, that looks a little sus. So this alleged profile of, oh, where'd it go here? Prince Igatuni. Is he going to ask me for a cashier's check? Yeah, he's got 2 posts. Let's see here. But he says it's a good one that the movement is moving forward. The flag will keep flying high. No one liked it, but this alleged new person did post it. John Smith says grooming the children to become woke and trans. No thanks. Getting no likes. Don Legay says it's good to see your org going the way of the dinosaur between taking advantage of kids and giving into the left Looney Tunes. You've earned it. My only hope is once it burns down, no one hires you losers going forward. Getting 1 like. Hunter and Joe Bidet says it's just a shame what Boy Scouts have devolved into. Bill Taffin says he, she, Scouts of America, teaching men to be women and women to hate who they are. Getting 1 like. Jen Williams says, young people, LOL, you cowards used to stand up for young men, no longer getting 3 likes. Lance Mangden is the last comment saying, Eagle Scout is a scam. Most of the Eagle Scout projects I've seen do nothing to actually benefit the community and only exist to give kids something for his college application. Besides that, who wants to be associated with an organization that sheltered child abusers for decades, unquote. So we have 2 positive comments. One was a profile that was just created in this Nigerian nonprofit. As the youth might say, is a little sus. So only 1 positive. Actually, how am I not following them already? I'll follow them to see what they're up to in the future. So not a lot of positive comments. And I think, well, I also wonder how many people, as they devolve into a political organization and they're, I don't think their overall recruitment numbers are going to go up or the participation numbers are going to go up by letting girls to join, because you're going to alienate so many of those young men who, again, it's fascinating to see the cultural discrepancies where they say, oh yeah, women need their own protected areas, which, yeah, I agree. There should be places for men. There should be places for women. But every place that used to be for men only, oh yeah, they're working overtime to get rid of those. So let me know, were you in the Boy Scouts? Do you think they'll be actually growing in headcount going forward? As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the political part of the podcast, you have the White House tweeting that more student loans are being forgiven, quote unquote, which there should be asterisk or giant fact check, because it's not being forgiven, it's being shifted to the taxpayers, because every time the government buys anything, it's with our tax dollars. And money they steal, I mean, just do a loan from China from, which are both not long-term sustainable, because we're what? Nearing $35 trillion in debt under the ineptitudes of Democrats and Republicans. Things are not great. We might just sell something useless, like Hawaii or something. But only partially kidding. Now, this is brought to us thanks to the White House on X Twitter, and it'll probably be a good move on political chessboard, because you're buying votes, and using emotional rhetoric is a real easy way to manipulate people who are not perhaps most intellectually strong. I understand we all have that visceral reaction, especially when you first initially hear about something and read something. But unfortunately, I don't think enough people actually take time to look deeper into the topics. But I partially digress. Going to the White House X Twitter profile, they say, quote, this is what our administration's student debt cancellation looks like in real life, giving hardworking Americans the breathing room they deserve. So you and I, hardworking taxpayers have to pay off for these people. Now, the White House, in terms of marketing, they chose very emotionally charged. Their emotional rhetoric is through the roof for these use cases. And it makes sense. They're using emotional manipulation. Well, every politician does this. It's marketing. So I understand why they're doing it, and I think they'll actually get a couple more votes because of this. Not because these people are intellectually articulate, or they just want free stuff. So one of the first, and again, they have a couple of screenshots. One of the first ones here. One of the first ones come from Steve. And Steve says, earlier today, I announced that my administration is canceling student debt for up to 160,000 more people. Now, 4.75 million folks have been approved for an average of over $35,000 in debt relief because of our actions. If you're one of them, let me know. I guess Steve responded saying, "My daughter just confirmed that $9,500 of her loans were forgiven. It will make a huge difference since she is a single mom of 2. Thank you." Again, that's one of the most polarizing topics is the handouts or the programs for single moms, which, again, in terms of effectiveness, I think the most effective way to help single moms is, one, have a cultivated society where we actually look down upon people, men who walk away from those situations and women who push them away. And also, I think the most effective way to help them is local communities and churches and nonprofits who are infinitely more effective at spending money to get a positive result to help them long term. So again, for the record, yeah, I think I understand people need help, but just Google or Brave Search, look at the rates of single motherhood after the government provided the incentive mechanisms that actually pay them more money to be single moms. Especially in African American community, look at the statistics, the single rate of motherhood exploded exponentially because the government is providing an incentive mechanism, and there's no reason for them to stop using it. Let me know in the comments. I don't think it's a coincidence that the single mother rate has increased exponentially after these incentive mechanisms are put in place. Now, the second quote-unquote use case, see here, this is Patricia. And again, these are all, I'll read the intro one more time, but they're all responding to the same thing. And it says, "Earlier today, I announced that my administration is canceling student debt for 160,000 more people. Now 4.75 million folks have been approved for an average of over $35,000 in debt relief because of our actions. If you're one of them, let me know." Patricia says, "You forgave me my $32,000 after 25 years in public classroom. Thank you." $32,000? Which, again, how mentally vacuous are these people? You took out $32,000. Again, that was the loan that was remaining. That's the worst ROI on the planet. I want to say college is a scam because the teachers. Oh wait, that's a joke. It kind of is for many things, not all. But anecdotally, my experience is the teachers unions in middle school and high school bullying kids, telling you if you don't go to college, you'll be a loser. You have to. The biggest lie. Perhaps not the biggest lie ever told, but one of the greatest lies ever told. Truth be told, I've met more successful millionaires who don't have anything more than a high school diploma than people with college degrees who still have debt. And she says, so she spent all this money, and after 25 years, she couldn't pay it back? For 25 years. Why did she pay for the degree? And again, why didn't they, again, I can't but think that schools don't teach ROIs or return on investment calculations. And again, now, this is also a good move by the White House. Granted, it's also illegal because the Supreme Court says illegal, but we all know they don't really care what they do. I mean, this is going to resonate. Everyone in America has been brainwashed to think teachers don't get paid enough. It's a very polarizing topic. And really, it depends on where they are. Teachers in Beverly Hills make bank because an overwhelming majority of public schools, they're funded. The teachers are paid a percentage based on property taxes or other local taxes, as well as other incentives from depending on what type of school mechanisms they're teaching. There's incentives based on local, city, state. It's a certain calculation depending on where you live. More often than not, it is a variable of the wealth around you. So teachers in Beverly Hills, they're making bank. Again, they're working, 7 or 8 months a year? But we've been brainwashed, or we've been taught our whole life that teachers are underpaid. Time and time again, that's all we hear. And they get all summer off. They teach math. Nowadays, I was about to say they teach math and history and science. It's a 32-year low ACT scores for public schools in the United States. And teachers unions say they deserve more money. Presumably, they also give a lot of money to politicians as well. But again, single moms, teacher. 2 things that society has an overwhelming compassion for. And again, I think we should have compassion. I just think my methodologies are more effective methodologies to help people than the government. Well, literally anything is more effective than the government. I partially digress. That's another very emotionally charged rhetoric from the White House that they know will resonate with millions. I was about to say hundreds of millions. Well, yeah, probably hundreds of millions of prospective voters. Let's go to the third use case. Third one comes from Andrew. Again, he's responding to the White House saying all that. And he says, quote, "Thank you. Both my wife and I have been debt canceled in the past 2 years. Together, over $150,000 of student loan debt has been taken off our shoulders and pushed onto our shoulders, the taxpayers. $150,000? What kind of degrees are these people getting? I cannot believe. Maybe it's by design, but no one should be getting a degree in underwater basket weaving or lesbian dance theory. Yeah, time and time again they are. You shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't have to get an MBA to teach elementary school either. Which, again, depending on where you live, that might not be a requirement. There's a lot of variables to get into it, I understand. So, $150,000. Wow, interest. Yeah, that's insane. Just racking up the debt. Now let's go. There's one more. Last one comes from Juan. They just let anyone to college these days. A swan, an animal. Kidding. That's the person's name, apparently. Which is pretty ridiculous as a name. It's almost as ridiculous as a name like something named after a pizza, like topping. Oh, wait. I partially digress. But again, he's responding to the White House saying, it's debt relief. And Swan says, yes, sir, $26,000 in debt forgiven. Thank you. And what is that? A salute emoji. Which, again, if they were, this would be a much more I guess this wouldn't happen with a military veteran because they have the GI Bill, which used to be, again, it's not the main reason people join the military. There's a myriad of reasons. But that used to be one of the recruiting mechanisms that a lot of recruiters use, which I think is a partial reason why military recruitment numbers are at an all-time low, and every branch can't hit the recruitment numbers with the exception of the Marines. Again, I know it's not the number one reason people join the military, but it is a component and something that recruitment officers used to use to their advantage when they're recruiting potential, I was going to say new hires, future veterans, or it's probably a fancy vernacular that's eluding me at the moment. But yeah, so again, very use cases that are going to be very emotionally charged, it's going to get a lot of attention, I think, long term. Especially, I mean, if this is something their campaign managers should use to their advantage, because people will vote for free stuff. I mean, we see this time and time again. Now, interestingly enough, it didn't go as viral as I thought. I thought this was going to get a couple million. Maybe it's because we become desensitized because the White House and the government keeps forgiving. And I have to almost break my fingers when I'm making the quotation marks there because, again, they're not forgiving. They're shifting the debt onto the taxpayer. And again, I thought this would get a couple millions of views, but maybe they're desensitized. It only got 171,000 views. Now, interestingly enough, barely any likes. It got 1.8 thousand likes, which, again, in terms of ratio, that's pretty darn low to say the least. I mean, that's barely anything. And not to brag, but one of my videos last week did get 3 likes, which, if you have 1/1000th of a second and you take the time to like this video, I would really appreciate it. And cliche to say, click the subscribe button. I would also appreciate it as well. Now, going down to some top comments, you have Donna Marie saying this is real life. Is a comic strip of a student with a noose called debt around their head, and Biden says, "I forgive you," and he takes the noose, again, noose is called debt, and he puts it onto the taxpayer. Which, yeah, that's 110% accurate. And that got 206 likes. Going down, American Deplorable says this is what it looks like for everyone else. And unfortunately, this does not give me, it doesn't give you a link to the actual article, the statistics. It looks like a screenshot from an article. So it's a title from June 1st, 2023. It says, Biden student loan bailout will cost average taxpayers $3,526. State by state comparison, the U.S. House Committee on Budget House Committee. That got 139 likes. Donna Marie says pandering for votes and passing it on to the taxpayers. And it's a comic strip of students walking up to graduation, getting a diploma, and they're getting money as well. And they're just putting a blue check mark in the vote box. They got 180 likes. Let's see here. Ryan Foreigner says these are literally doctored text, getting 202 likes. I'm gonna say that's, what is it? Yeah, I guess it's not too family inappropriate to say keys nuts. I guess that's not technically a pejorative term. Keys, K-E-E-Z. They say it looks like runaway inflation and desperate Biden trying to buy votes with taxpayer money after the SCOTUS told him no. Got 236 likes. Lindsay says you're effing overruling the Supreme Court that cannot stand. Find other ways to bribe voters. Got 263 likes, which, I mean, when's the last time a politician was held accountable? Left or right? Sorry, I mean, most of them get away with most. So, I mean, yeah, it says they cannot stand. I mean, unfortunately, I think it will. And it'll just provide more incentives for other politicians to do it. Some retirees talking about how the inflation is crushing them, which is also heartbreaking. They got 199 likes. Reddit Lies says the White House got the Timu brand iMessage, getting 209 likes. Joshua Youngblood says, so just completely ignore the Supreme Court. You have turned the White House into an international joke. Retribution cannot be come quickly enough, getting 221 likes. Yeah. The Vulture says, reminder, Biden created the student loan debt crisis. The solution is simple. Students who truly can't pay their student loans should be able to have it discharged in bankruptcy court. They would also force lenders to take less predatory into their lending practices, and it would force universities to make their tuitions more affordable as lenders refuse to make risky, overexpensive loans. And this talks about how Biden was part of many bills that made it so that you actually cannot disrupt debt from student loans when you go through bankruptcy. Everything else can be car debt, auto or home debt, even healthcare and medical debt. That can all be wiped out through the bankruptcy process. However, student loans cannot. And they're all guaranteed loans by the government, so there's no incentive mechanisms for anyone to really decrease their cost, or the schools actually decrease the cost. I got 37 likes. Mark Intelligence says, now do credit cards, medical bills, or layaway items or car loans to start for starting a 401 or starting a 401k for everyone. And 59 likes, so that is a moderately positive comment. Someone just wants even more free stuff. Again, I'm actually surprised there's not more positive comments because millions of people are going to vote for this and they'll agree for this. PA voter says this administration has no constitutional or legal authority to assign someone else's debt to me, getting 16 likes. Here. JW says, so now you're just forcing me to help pay their bills while simultaneously increasing my own. Where's my 35K debt forgiveness? I didn't go to college, but I've got plenty of debt, mostly thanks to you. Getting 19 likes. Dr. Strange Sweet says, I haven't received your text message letting me know you're giving me $35,000. I'm sure that's an error. Just cut the check and it's all good. Getting 81 likes. Greg Barr says, pay my mortgage now. Getting 27 likes. Ron says, no, it's transferring the debt to other hardworking Americans who, by the way, are being crushed by this crap economy. Might want to let your press secretary know. Getting 87 likes. So yeah, not a lot of positive comments. Interesting enough, it does feel in terms of people who follow the White House and Biden on social media, it seems like a lot of them are just middle or right leaning. And again, there are millions of people who do like the White House, what they're doing. And granted, there's most votes in history for Biden. I mean, there are people who love the administration, love what they're doing. Fascinatingly enough, go on Facebook, there are people who think this is the best economy ever. It's fascinating to see how groups of people can see the same situation completely differently. But again, it's one of those instances where I think this, in terms of moves on a political chessboard, I mean, even though it's, again, illegal, mentally vacuous, disgusting, I think it's going to be a good move on political chessboard because it's buying votes. I mean, people are going to be, beyond happy because of this. Imagine if you have car debt or house debt or medical debt of $35,000 and the government just says, all right, snap our fingers. We're going to have Sally down the street pay for it. We're going to have Bob down the street, the carpenter. He's going to pay for it. He's not suffering enough. We'll just assign it to him. The people who are getting the money are definitely going to want this because they also assume, and probably appropriately so, that the government's going to continue to give them even more stuff. So yes, it's illegal if the Supreme Court said no, and it's morally disgusting to assign someone else's debt, or to assign your debt to someone else. But I don't think it's going to be a lot of it. I think the people are all going to vote. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is going to inspire more people to vote for Trump? Or do you think the people who, this is already baked in. This topic has been brought up before. So this is just even more money, more of our tax dollars being shifted around, stolen and given to someone else. Well, in the comments, do you think this will be a big point of contention during the upcoming debates? Do you think it'll be a deal breaker for people voting in the upcoming election, for better or worse? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have California wanting to tax you 3 cents for every mile you drive because you're not taxed enough. You just have too much money. Even though the federal government takes 40% of your income, California takes up to 13% of your income. Then you have, property tax, you got alcohol tax, tobacco tax, internet tax, water tax. What else? You got sales tax is another big one, inheritance tax, estate tax, capital gains tax. At the end of the day, it's kind of depressing to think of every dollar we earn, how much do we really get to keep? Pretty disgusting when you think about it, but nevertheless, California, of course, needs money because everyone is leaving, which is a almost impressive amount of ineptitude from a political perspective. One of the most beautiful states, at least physically, before people crapped in the streets in San Francisco because of the cultural decay. It used to be one of the most beautiful places ever, and the policies are so bad, people are leaving. Also, the gasoline tax in California. Interestingly enough, it's actually not the highest. That goes to Pennsylvania, but because of the requirements, California has to have their own special gasoline, so their own special standards. which there's a duopoly. I think there's only 2 refineries in the state that can do it to their standards. Well, because of that, gasoline is $5, $6, $7 a gallon. So I can't imagine making enough money to live there. But nevertheless, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter. He says, guess which state is considering a 3-cent tax for every mile you drive. And this comes to us, it looks like it was really about 1:07 recording from NBC. Go ahead and play that for New York Minute here.
With more than 30 million registered passenger vehicles in California, the state says it shells out more than $8 billion a year to maintain the roads those cars drive on. Much of that.
Yeah, but thinking nice, juicy union contracts. How effective is it really being done? Can't but notice, oh yeah, Germany made the Autobahn like more than half a century ago. Still works pretty damn well. And the roads of the United States continue to crumble like the Roman Empire. And as a friendly daily reminder to think about the parallels of those two once great nations.
Cost is paid from money collected here at the pump from gas taxes. But because so many Californians.
Looks like this, it says $5.09 and 9 cents. $5.09 and 9 cents per gallon for regular gas in California. I have some friends and colleagues, or I guess tech partners that live over there. They say it's $6, $7 in some areas for a gallon.
So many Californians now own electric vehicles. The gas tax money is starting to dry up.
Potentially 10 years from now, we'll see a $4.4 billion loss in revenue because of these issues.
Which is why Caltrans wants to instead charge drivers per mile and is now enrolling people in a 6-month pilot program to test out the concept.
And what's unique about this pilot is this time we'll be collecting actual revenue from participants.
So why would you participate in a program that charges you about 3 cents for every mile you drive? Caltrans says it will waive gas tax fees and give participants up to $400. Drivers would track their miles by taking a photo of their odometer or using a transponder placed in their car. But some have big concerns about being tracked.
I mean, spoiler alert, the car companies are giving away your data for free to these governments because they have no spines, and same with your phone. But yeah, one of those things where the government will always find a way to take more money. So it's funny, when EVs first came out, everyone was like, oh yeah, you're going to save so much money because you don't have to buy gas. I mean, it'll be so much better. Until you have to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to replace the battery, you only have one company to work on it, maintain it, and yeah, you're locked in. But nevertheless, people love EVs. And this pretty viral, got 1.4 million views and 9.6 thousand likes, which, yeah, I would never be enrolled to this program. Granted, I also never lived there. Like, yeah, disgusting to say the least. Now, Ed Wokeness responded, correcting a typo, so it is in fact 3 cents per gallon. He fixed it up top. Farm World says California, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says California because they need to make up for the tax dollars losing by residents leaving. Just think about it. California is losing $75,000 or 75,000 residents per year, even though it has tons of illegals that are invading. It's safe to say that a lot of people are leaving our taxpayers. California is broke, getting 294 likes, which, yeah, there's not a lot of businesses or people moving to California that I know of. The capitalist Mike says the fascist state is a picture of Gavin Newsom. Oh, he is. I almost couldn't tell. He's actually wearing makeup to look like the Joker. That got 110 likes. Libercat Media TM says 101% has to be California, the most heavily trafficked state in the country. Stop voting for Democrats. And this picture of Smokey the Bear. Let's see if I can attempt. It might be a futile attempt. We'll make an attempt to be the. Is it Smokey the Bear? Only you can prevent Democrats from turning your state into California. It's not perhaps not the worst impression all year. They got 349 likes, which, yeah. The joke in Texas is we welcome everyone. Just remember why you left your area to come here. They got 335 likes again. Nick Sorter says, and how are you going to enforce this? Install a tracker in your vehicle? That's what's coming, which, yes, and depressingly enough, in many instances, there are already trackers. Whether how quickly it's transmitted to the government is perhaps the variable. They got 810 likes. Eric Garland press release parody says literally and says what the rules do to every city and state they govern. Looks like Gavin Newsom in a wasteland or something. There's probably some pop culture reference I don't understand. They got 261 likes. Desiree says California is a funny one. It's New York Post and says California mocked over $11 billion high rate rail bridge nowhere that took 9 years to build. Which, is a perfect metaphor for the ineptitudes of California. Well, I should specify the public sector in California. I got 140 likes. America at AF says China, I mean California, getting 261 likes. See here. David the Meme Smith says, thus the end of freedom and mobility. And with someone with a protective mask saying, how could people allow it to get to this point? Is reading Germany 1933, 1945. Got 475 likes. Planet of Memes gets an A+. He responded in meme form. Usually it's a 50-50 shot. And he says, and that's why Gavin Newsom wins this award every year. It's Gavin Newsom and says U-Haul Employee of the Year, getting 492 likes, which he is, quite literally. It's one of those instances where so many people are leaving California, they ran out of U-Haul trucks, which had never happened before. Because again, no one's moved, like, how many, I don't know anyone who's moved to California in the past 5-10 years. A lot of people leaving. See, scrolling down more and more. Gunther Eagleman says CA, LL, getting 141 likes. Ray Mariano says, guess your steak can suck every inch of my private park, getting 308 likes. Merck says, good old commie California, says California 2035, and has a Tesla plugged into a gas generator, which they're making gas cars illegal by 2035. Also, lawnmowers, generators, pretty much so you'll be completely dependent on the system. Yeah, not good news for freedom. I got 91 likes. See here. Trying to see if there's any contrarian statements. Florida 1 says, leave it to Newsom to find a new way to tax residents as they lose reasons to buy an EV. What about all those without EVs? Getting 16 likes. So not a lot of support. Well, again, there's probably a lot of support in terms of people are voting for this. So you get what you vote for, usually. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, oh, wait a minute, is this a contrarian statement? Maybe. No, not too much. Yeah. So are you surprised at this? I mean, when it comes to increasing tax rates or, increasing how much money they steal, I mean, tax from us, unfortunately, I can't help but think, yeah, it's probably going to be put into law. They're calling it like a beta test. They're going to temporary, try it out. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Is this yet another reason to leave California? Have you ever contemplated moving to California the past couple years? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have a bill to prevent illegals from voting did pass, but only passed 262 to 143. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on X Twitter. She says 141 House Democrats just voted to allow illegal aliens to vote in our elections. This was the plan all along. And this is a screenshot from C-SPAN specifically. They say the repeal DC non-citizen voting law, and Republicans voted yay, 210. Democrats also voted yay, 52, so a total of 262. The nays were Democrat 143, and that is 143 total. And the NEV were not present, 7 and 18, Democrats, Republicans, for a total of 25. Which, interestingly enough, I'm surprised Republicans didn't say nay to this. Because usually, I don't want to say half, but there are a lot of Republicans who are just rhinos, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only. So, they run as a Republican, they say they stand for those ideals and ideologies, and yet once they get to DC and once they, start to vote on policies, they usually just either have no spine or they just were a phony all along. They vote for things that are ideologically much more far left, which it also seems like there should be like a clause or some type of rule where you can just recall those type of politicians. I mean, that's false advertising at the very least. All these politicians say, oh yeah, we're going to get this done, or we're going to vote this way, and they never do. It went pretty well. This got 1.8 million views and 31,000 likes. Quite a few to say the least. One of the first comments comes from Paul Zupa saying, thankfully this didn't pass, but the masks are off. Getting 3.2 thousand likes. Here. Now, Trump AI says Democrats don't deserve the American citizens. They serve globalists, getting 1.4 thousand likes. Valentina Gomez says those 143 Democrats are traitors, getting 2.3 thousand likes. Here. DK says, of course it's a plan, and say a cartoon of Biden standing on the border with a bunch of cash, handing it to people, and it says, vote blue and we will come and take care of you. And they don't source this data, but there's a data pointer. They say that this costs 1.24 billion a day, 451 billion a year. Got 387 likes. What werewolf. It says 143 Democrats equals 143 commie clowns. There's a picture of a milk bottle, milk carton. It says missing legitimate elections. Have you seen me? I got 278 likes, and there's a recall or a callback to old marketing back in the day where you actually had, well, milk cartons, and you also had little ads with Timmy being missing, which is kind of sad and depressing, but it's effective. I think some people are found that way. Raise awareness, but nevertheless, that got 278 likes. Going down more and more, you have Emergent Perspective saying if you won't vote for them, they'll just replace you and that goes for Democrats also. They'll give your benefits to illegals. And it says how to invade in woke era. And it's a picture of a bunch of gentlemen picking up AK-47s. It says, no, not that way. And instead of AK-47s, they're now picking up, was it the flag on the stick? I forget what you call that, but it says refugee, and that got the check mark, as in, yes, do that way. That got 150 likes. Unbound Monkey says, they seek to dissolve the power of your vote, America. They are all traitors. This is what it looks like when your representatives despise and seek to replace you. Got 138 likes. Other Eagleman says, Democrats hate America, and this proves it, getting 795 likes. See here. Howdy says, yup, their intentions were obvious, and make no mistake about it, they will continue to try to get this passed. After all, they have over 10 million illegals waiting. 162 likes. The Texas one says treason, getting 381 likes. Alex says sad not surprising, getting 163 likes. Hello, I'm Kello says Democrats don't care about citizenship or the Constitution, getting 531 likes. See, there's any contrarian statements. Good old cliche, was it Scooby-Doo? Is it Fred? Got the handkerchief? Which, I don't know, maybe we should bring that back. When was the last time it was culturally relevant to see a man with a handkerchief? But nevertheless, yeah, Fred, but his face is replaced by Biden, and it's, the famous scene where you're unmasking the ghost to see who it is, and the ghost is labeled illegal immigrant, and he, takes the hood off and is just a voter. That got 71 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Oh, good old Star Wars, Star Trek, good old Star Trek. Kidding, I know it's Star Wars, but you have the old age-old Star Wars reference. It goes, these are not the droids you're looking for. That's a terrible impression, but nevertheless, it says Democrats. It says this isn't the election interference you're looking for, getting 51 likes. So not a lot of support for him. I really can't see a single positive. And again, there's an inherent bias to some of these accounts. It seems like people on the middle, on the right, seek I'm not seeing a lot of people on the left following those on TikTok or other people who don't agree with their ideologies, like people on the right will do when they're people on the right now. Well, the White House is Democrat, obviously. A lot of people them seem to be following the White House and the president. And yeah, it's interesting to see who seeks out data. Or, I mean, I've been covering Twitter, and it certainly seems that way. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see how this topic plays into the upcoming election and what will happen with it. And yeah, do you think there will be actually deportations? I mean, Trump is saying he'll try, or he will if he's elected. We've also heard that same thing for 20, 30 years, which is why I'm so pessimistic of Democrats or Republicans fixing anything in life, since we've had the same hot topics for decades. And I can't but think they just keep those topics around because then they can both use those topics to raise campaign funds. And maybe they'll have a little bit of win here, a little bit of win there. But at the end of the day, how much is really solved? Very little for the most part. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have a Microsoft outage hurting Bing, Copilot, ChatGPT, and DuckDuckGo for all 18 people who appreciate those types of services. Which is why I always joke that, business application most people use is Microsoft M365, which is your standard Microsoft suite. But the joke is it's Microsoft 363. Because, there's 365 days in a year, but Microsoft has outages not infrequently. Now, this was brought to us thanks to Don Reisler over at ZDNet. They note that, quote, a massive Microsoft outage is impacting Bing, Copilot, ChatGPT, and DuckDuckGo. The rest of ChatGPT still works, but its internet search function is affected. Which, oh no, all 18 Copilot users are going to be sorely disappointed. They note that I don't want to say this is an inaccurate article, but they say several Bing users last week. Do you know more than 3 people who use Bing? Several is a really big term. I don't know anyone in my lifetime who's used Bing. The most hilarious thing, and I thought it was a meme at first, I didn't think it was real. If you bring up I was gonna say, dust off the Bing search engine, and just in that search engine, type the word Google or Google Chrome because you want to download it, and it'll tell you in a big bold font. It'll be like, it's like a disclaimer, like, hey, we work just as good as them. You don't need to download that. And it's kind of funny and cute that they do that. But nevertheless, they claim several Bing users were affected by this. They could not use the Bing search engine. They also noted that they say the private search engine DuckDuckGo, which isn't used by Microsoft but uses Bing API, was also affected. Which I'll say DuckDuckGo is dog crap, but I used to use them back in the day, a couple years ago, and they used to be known for privacy, not filtering the data, so you get all the data when you're doing search results. And then the Russia-Ukraine conflict, war, whatever you want to call it, broke out, and DuckDuckGo said, "Oh, we're going to censor all Russian media and all Russian sources." Which, again, if you want censored data, you already have Google. The only thing DuckDuckGo had was that they would give you unfiltered data. And when I'm searching anything, I want every topic, every opinion. I want as much data as possible. That's why a lot of people, a lot of my libertarian friends, just said, "All right, DuckDuckGo, you're gone. We're gonna try Brave out." Which Brave is pretty good for me. I haven't had any issues with it. It doesn't crash hardly. I think maybe once in the past 3 years I've been using Brave. But that's my choice of browser for now. Not an ambassador, just a fan. But nevertheless, it doesn't tell us this. I'm trying to see if they don't tell us the actual statistics and how much of an outage there was. But yeah, yet another reason to not put all your eggs in one basket. But yeah, you have multiple. And again, Microsoft already has a reputation. And granted, from a certain perspective, they have basically monopoly in terms of business applications. And so, will this affect their sales by more than not even a single percent? No, it won't even hurt them by a single percent. Maybe their cloud, just not maybe one thousandth of a percentage point. Yet another reason people are going to continue to use competitors like AWS, also known as Amazon Web Services, which I'd say is known for being much more robust and having much less downtime. Granted, there's no such thing as a perfect solution. It's always going to, just like cybersecurity there's technologies. There's always going to be some variable that breaks. It's an imperfect thing. But yeah, having an outage, again, when you're already known for having outages, then now this is so exposes kind of how much tech is built upon tech and how much you relies upon it. Definitely not good news. So I have to say, Microsoft, another outage. That is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.